What if your brother vanished into a deadly gang only to return years later, in a body bag? When Kola picked up the phone that night, he thought it was a mistake. But the voice on the other end delivered a chilling truth. His estranged brother was dead. What followed was a descent into the dark underworld of Lagos, where betrayal wears a badge, and the most dangerous secrets never stay buried. This is not just a story of crime. It's a fight for justice in a world where the shadows never forgive. I will never forget what happened to Kola. It was the kind of story that makes you question everything. It all started with a phone call. Kola was just an ordinary guy working at a bank in Lagos trying to live a good life. But that night his whole world changed. "Your brother Tunde is dead," said the man on the phone. The voice claimed to be a police officer. But something felt off. Kola hadn't spoken to his brother in years. He remembered the fun memories they had playing and chasing down bicycles when they were much younger. Tunde had disappeared when he was just 18, joining a gang called the Shadows. They were the most feared gang in Lagos. No one messed with them. They controlled the streets, ran illegal businesses, and made people disappear. Tunde had once been one of them. Before he died, Tunde was a loyal member of the Shadows. He started as a street enforcer, robbing shops, threatening people for money, and making sure no one crossed the gang. Then things got worse. He was given a gun. He started handling dirty work. At first it was just beating up those who owed money. But soon the orders changed. He was told to kill. The first time he couldn't do it. But the gang leader, a man known as Ghost, warned him. "In the shadows there is no fear. There is no escape. You belong to us." So Tunde pulled the trigger. After that he became one of their most trusted hitmen. But the more blood he spilled, the more his heart grew heavy. One day everything changed. Tunde was sent to kill a man. It was supposed to be a simple job, shoot and leave. But when he found the target, he hesitated. The man was holding a baby. Tunde's hands shook. He couldn't do it. He turned around and told Ghost that he was done, that he wanted out. Ghost laughed. "You think you can leave the shadows? No one leaves." Tunde knew he was a dead man. So he did something crazy. He stole important evidence from the gang. Documents, recordings, names of powerful people working with the shadows. And then he ran. Tunde was supposed to meet someone, a police officer who had promised to protect him. But before he could hand over the evidence, he was found. His body was dumped in a gutter. The evidence was gone. And that's when Kola got the phone call. Kola couldn't just let it go. He started asking questions. Who killed his brother? What was he running from? His search led him to a woman named Amaka. She was Tunde's girlfriend and she knew everything. "Tunde was trying to bring them down," she whispered. "He had proof. He was going to the police, but someone betrayed him." Kola felt cold. "Who?" She hesitated. "Detective Musa." Musa, the same police officer who had called Kola about Tunde's death. It all made sense. Musa wasn't just a cop. He was working with the shadows. He had tricked Tunde, stolen the evidence, and had him killed. But there was one thing Musa didn't know. Tunde had made a copy. Kola and Amaka found the backup files hidden in Tunde's old apartment. Names, locations, deals. Everything. Kola sent the files to the police, the media, and even some powerful people who hated the shadows. Then he waited. That night his door burst open. It was Ghost. "You should have left it alone," Ghost growled, pointing a gun at Kola. "You're about to join your brother." But before he could pull the trigger, boom, the police stormed in. Someone had tipped them off. Detective Musa was arrested. Ghost tried to escape, but the police had surrounded the building. The reign of the shadows was over. As Kola watched them take Ghost away, he saw something that made his blood run cold. One of the police officers walked up to Ghost and whispered something. Ghost smirked. Then the officer turned and looked straight at Kola. It was the same officer who had led the raid. That's when Kola realized the shadows were still out there. The real leaders, the ones pulling the strings, were still in power. And now, they knew his name. Kola knew he had only two options: run or fight. Running was pointless. He had seen what happened to those who crossed the shadows. They always found you. So he decided to fight. But he had to be smart. Instead of going home, Kola went into hiding. He used the money in his bank account to disappear, switched SIM cards, stayed in cheap motels, and avoided places he used to go. Then he did something unexpected. He reached out to one of the most feared journalists in Nigeria, someone with a reputation for exposing corruption, a man named Mr. Ade Bayer. Mr. Ade was known for taking down powerful people. And when he saw the files Kola had, he knew this was bigger than anything he had ever worked on. Together they planned a trap. Kola pretended to set up a meeting with the corrupt officer. He acted desperate, saying he wanted to cut a deal to save himself. The officer took the bait. What he didn't know was that the entire conversation was being recorded. As soon as the officer admitted to working with the shadows, Kola sent the recording straight to Ade, who leaked it online. Within hours, the whole country was talking about it. The government had no choice but to act. The officer was arrested. More names were exposed. For the first time, the shadows were running scared. Kola knew he wasn't safe. Even with the corrupt officer gone, the gang still had people everywhere. So he did what his brother never got to do. He left Nigeria. No one knows where he is now. Some say he's in Ghana. Others say he's in London, watching from the shadows, waiting for the day when it's truly over. But one thing is certain: he won. Because the shadows never forgive. But sometimes neither do their victims. In a world where evil hides behind power and silence can be deadly, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. Kola's journey teaches us that standing up for truth may cost you everything, but losing your soul to fear costs even more. Even in the darkest places, one act of bravery can spark a revolution. If this story moved you, don't let it stop here. Share it. Talk about it. Stand for what's right even when it's risky. Because somewhere, someone is still watching from the shadows, waiting for a reason to believe that justice is possible.